Welcome back to the channel. I guess I should have explained myself a little bit in the previous video why I'm why the small block is not in the car anymore. Nothing happened to the motor. It was fine. It was, didn't blow up or anything like that. Everything was perfectly fine. And if you watch the other videos, the older videos, they had a Keith Black block and those W2/W5 whatever diamond racing engines kind of prototype head, I guess. Anyway, as most of you will kind of be able to associate with, once you start racing, the want to go faster and faster is definitely there. And the parts that small block were made of, not easily replaceable. And in my mind, I was already thinking, what was the next step? Do we put a shot of nitrous on this thing and put a 150 shot on it or a 200 shot on it and really get after it? And I wanted it to be a 9-second street drivable car, which is not out of the realm of possibility, but I did not want to run the risk of blowing up that small block and destroying the block, which is basically irreplaceable. I mean, I guess you could get a new Ritter block or find an R3 that somebody was selling, but you're just not going to replace that KB block. It is what it is. You can't do it. And so I talked to my dad about it and talked to my wife about it, and they were like, yeah, it probably is a good idea if you try to put a different motor in it before something happens to the 377 and basically end up with a pile of scrap. And I was in agreement, spinning that thing to 8,000 RPM. Is not easy on parts, obviously. Anytime you crank a V8 engine that tight, things happen. Things can happen, and I didn't want to be the guy that destroyed that thing. So, hence the 440 back here and doing the turbo big block setup. So, I mean, 440s are replaceable. You can go on Marketplace today and you could probably find a 440 block or a complete engine within an hour's drive of your home, for $500 to $700. You're not going to do that with that KB small block. You're just not going to. And you can always buy all new parts for this one back here behind me and replace it, basically everything that's there, out of a catalog by the end of the week, pretty much, or something that's the equivalent. So it was a no-brainer to sell that motor and move on to this one. So I ended up selling that motor to a guy down in Missouri, a little west of St. Louis, and we loaded it up in the truck and drove it down there and dropped it off to him on our way to Arkansas to pick up the 440 and bring it back home. So it worked out both ways. he didn't have to pay to ship the small block. I didn't have to find somebody to, to come pick it up, and the hassle of all that. And I had to go down and get this one anyway, so it just worked out to just deliver it. And he's a 100% Mopar racer through and through, and had a really nice 70 Duster. That was his grandma's car that it's going to go in, so they can do some class racing with it or something, Nostalgia Super Stock or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but so that's where the motor is. I don't have it anymore, but it's not blown up, it's not torn up. It was perfectly fine running when I pulled it out. And I'll add a couple clips of it here to show you when I pulled it out. And the last video's gotten quite a bit of some feedback, some good feedback. A lot of people saying just keep on keeping on with the 440, and several people saying that the Gen 3 is the way they went and why, and that's perfect. That's what I'm looking for. And so I guess I just wanted to make a short video to kind of explain why the small block's not in the car still. It was a screamer. The car was fast with it in there, but like I said, as you all know, once you start racing, fast isn't fast enough, and you can never probably go fast enough. You always want to go faster. The last time I had the car out, when it went its personal best, that was the first bracket race that I had entered into, period, in my life with this car. And that small block in it, and we went 3 rounds in that race. The first one that I entered into, the car was really consistent for bracket racing. The only reason that we probably didn't go 4 rounds or more is it started to get really late, and the dew started to set. It got really cool that night, and I was freezing. I got up there to the line, and I just lost my focus and was super late on the light, and it is what it is. So we lost that round, but we were almost out of fuel. We have made like 3 or 4 test runs, and then 3 rounds in to racing, and like I didn't even know we would have enough fuel if we were to go the rest of the way. We probably would have had at least 3 or 4 more rounds to go, and I didn't think I would have enough fuel to even race that long. So everything worked out, and no issues there. I was super happy with as far as we made it in that first race, and the car basically did what it was supposed to do. I think it went like 691, 686. It was within 5 numbers or so on every run. So it was really good for first time actually racing it in competition. I ended up racing the same guy twice. He first and second round he lost in the first round, and he bought back in, and then we ended up in the lanes next to each other again, and we ran again, and I won that one as well. And so then we went to the third round, and I don't remember what car it was that I raced in that round. The first two rounds was an old Henry J. But yeah, so there's nothing wrong with the car. Never has been anything wrong with the car. So the small block just is going to, somebody that is going to class race it. They have a dial in. They're not going to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and until they grenade the thing. They're going to choose a class to run it in, and that's what it is. And and that's right where that motor had the dart, in that 1080s range. I think it's like 1082 quarter mile, or 686 is I think is the PB for the 8th mile. So there's a perfect motor for that class. If they're going to run 11.0 index or something with it, then they can definitely run under the index if they needed to. And there was plenty more left in that motor, I'm sure, with a much looser converter, a 5500 converter or something in it. It would probably would have set that thing free to 60 foot a little better than it did with the 4000 converter that's in the car now. It's a little tight for bracket racing, but being a street driven car, you kind of have to balance between the two. What's good for drag racing that isn't necessarily good for street driving habits. And so the converter that's in the car, it would flash to 4000, so it's actually not a 4000 converter. But so it didn't have enough converter to really take advantage of the RPM range of that motor. It really needed a much higher stall converter, but then the drivability would have been even worse on the street. And I just didn't want that, just for making the car faster at the racetrack. And swapping converters is no fun, so that wasn't an option. So that's where the putting the big block turbo came into play. So just a little short video. So like I said, the subscribers and people who have watched the channel before and followed and saw all of the videos about the W2 heads and that KB block and all of that, so where it went, just to keep you filled in that all is well. It's still alive and well as far as I know, and we're moving on to the next power plant, whether it's this 440, which I've gotten some good feedback on, and kind of I don't know what you want to say, basically reinforced my thoughts as far as like the rocker arm offset. I think there's enough room in the push rod hole to definitely move it over. The only obstruction would be that head bolt that's right there near the intake port in between, but I think it's far enough out of the way that that push rod hole can be kind of angled, drilled. These Mopar Stage 6 heads, it's very crude. They drilled 2 push rod holes through, and then they ran a cutter between the two and slotted it out, and it's not the prettiest machine work that you've ever seen. So I think it's definitely doable to go to that 650 offset rocker arm for sure. So just wanted to hop on here real quick. I do appreciate everybody watching, gaining some new subscribers, which that's cool. That's always cool. It means people are interested in their, they want to hear more, and let everybody know, you know, basically the backstory. This, I sold that motor back in September of last year. So basically at the end of the season, and just life and everything, work is where you end up getting busy, and I'm sure everybody can relate. And then, you know, recording and winter coming. It was a very rough winter here in Ohio. It's like I said, it's probably rough for really everybody. It's May 1st now, and it's like 48 degrees outside here in Ohio. I don't know if you can see that, but it's chilly. It's like winter came back, so it's screwy. But so just an update. I appreciate everybody watching, liking, subscribing, and please, if you haven't, like, subscribe, and share this, and turn on notifications, so the next video you'll see it come out. And thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you later.